After I have had configured the payments for external suppliers, I will need to configure for internally paid human resources, which are considered as overheads. The way we do this is to go to the resource registry, and in here I will need to specify which of these workers are hired by us, and as such I will consider them as overheads. And these are clearly apparent below our business name, Civil 540. All these are considered overheads. I will select one of them and will create a new overhead, which I will call human resources paid for whole interval on monthly basis. I know this is a lengthy name, but that will make this overhead distinctive from other overheads that we will configure soon. And then from the durations tab, I will make sure I've selected whole interval, and under the payment events tab, select monthly so that these overheads are paid on monthly basis, and click OK. Now other resources could take the same settings that we just configured. For the sake of exemplification, let's assume that equipment operator has a slightly different setting. So for that one, we'll create a new overhead type. We will call this human resource paid during use on monthly basis. And the difference that I will set this configuration to during use instead of whole interval, but the payment events will be the same on monthly basis. Click OK. Now what I want to do here is that I want to have two types of internal human resources. Ones that stay on site even when they are free, and ones that do not stay on site and we are not charged for when they are free. So for the second type, which I will not be charged for when they are free, so I will need to make sure that they are set as during use in the overhead configuration. And also I will need to make sure that this is ticked, leave site when free. Okay. So now I have two types of overheads. And if by any chance you made a mistake in your overhead settings and you want to make a correction, you could do this by going to the bill of quantities and change the task type from schedule to overhead. This will show you all the overhead configurations that you have made. So if you want to make any changes, you just double click and make the changes. Okay. Now since we have configured the payments for our internal resources, which we denoted as overheads, you will see this reflected in the cash flow. To make this explicit, let's remove the payment delay from here. There is a payment delay of 14 days. I'll remove this. And here again, now referring to the cash flow, you will see that these payments are made at the beginning of every month. Change this to day so that it becomes clearer. Yeah, so at the beginning of every month, there is a payment made for our internal human resources. And in contrast to the case with supplier resources, as we demonstrated in the 7th and 8th videos, the payment amounts made to our resources shown in the cash flow will be affected by the efficiency or inefficiency of the schedule. Let's demonstrate this. So we'll show a flow line view as well as a cash flow view and see what happens if any of these tasks are made discontinuous. Let's consider this scenario, for instance, for pouring slab on grade. And by the way, pouring slab on grade is fully handled by our resources. Um, any inefficiencies in this task will have a direct impact on costs endured by the main contractor, and this will be reflected in the cash out diagram, as in that case we will have to pay the extra cost of workers staying on site while not doing actual work. So have an eye on the total amount of cash out, which is around 33,000 dirhams. Now, if we change this task from being continuous to discontinuous, notice that this amount has raised to around 37,000. And this is because some of these resources will be coming earlier to the site and they will take a longer time span in the site, so they will cost us more, while we could alternatively have them stay at a shorter time span in the site and charge us less. The idea could be clearer by showing another combined view of the flow line as well as the resource graph. Notice that this green zone demonstrates labors. Up to this point, we only needed one labor, as demonstrated in this green zone. But as we started working on pouring slab on grade, we now hired an additional labor. But in case this task was set to be discontinuous, so this task will start earlier, and these two labors will come in site earlier, and thus we will be charged more. Notice that this zone now extends to here.